On this episode, gonna give you my thoughts on the recently released Justice League movie, and I guess the obligatory what I'm thankful for list that everyone does for Thanksgiving. Yeah, so I guess I'll give you my list of things. All that on this special Thanksgiving edition of TrendChat. Welcome everybody to a Thanksgiving edition of TrendChat. I'm your host, Brian Bledsoe. And if you want to connect with us, whether on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, it's all the same name, TrendChat 24/7. And if you want to read some of my articles on Politichicks, just go to politichicks.com/author/Brian Bledsoe. And don't forget about that book, Politichicks: Clearing Call to Political Activism, which is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Over 300 pages of articles from contributors like myself talking about activism, social issues, political issues, education, healthcare, and on and on. And my article about being a delegate at the Republican convention last year is in the section called Activism. So, like I said, I've mentioned this every time. Well, not every time since I've been on, but yeah, y'all know. Buy like 5 copies for Christmas and just hand them out. I'm serious. I mean, do that. I will be very appreciative of that. So, now, first of all, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I am not going to sit here and act like you're listening to this sitting around the table with your family and friends listening to me talk. I'm just not going to assume that. If you are, thank you. Hey, everybody, if you're listening, all family and friends, I hope y'all not fighting. I hope y'all not killing each other. I hope y'all having actually a good time enjoying each other's company. I really hope that for y'all. But like I said, I'm not going to sit here and think that you that you got your whole family sitting around and say, hey, shh, be quiet. Want to hear TrendChat. But want y'all to all listen to this. Yeah. If you know what, if someone did do that, please, if you're listening to this and you said, I played your podcast while we were sitting around a dinner table having Thanksgiving dinner. If you did, please tell me. I would just love to hear that, because I would question why. I know I said I want to talk about Justice League and what I'm thankful for, but I mean, I really appreciate that you did, and I'll be blown away if I got that message. But so I'm guessing someone probably listening to this this probably be listened to on Friday for the most part, if at all. But that being said, happy Thanksgiving, and I know I wanted to talk about the Justice League movie, which just came out this past weekend, and it was number one. That, no shock there, but it underperformed by making under 100 million, which, wow, to say something underperformed at under 100 million. I mean, that's saying a lot. That says a lot to the expectations that people have for this movie, even though, Marvel has basically set the standard when it comes to especially superhero movies to, whether it's the Avengers, Captain America, Iron Man, etc. And given that what it pulled in domestically, I'm hearing that I saw that it's doing well internationally, which may very well help it out as far as upcoming sequels or anything like that. But I'm just I like I said, I've seen it. I think I mentioned that in the last episode, and I thought it was pretty good. I have some, I guess, some criticism of it. Nothing to the point to where people just make it seem like it's horrible, or kind of like the Rotten Tomatoes score shows it pretty low. So, but I mean, for one, like I said before, Marvel has set the standard. So DC Comics is basically still playing catch up when it comes to, because you have this Justice League movie, which is basically, the collection of all the most well-known superheroes: Batman, Superman, Aquaman, Flash, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, etc., and others as well. But this is the first time for DC. Meanwhile, Marvel has basically done it twice. Well, 2.5 times if you count Captain America: Civil War, which is kind of like as some people say, like the Avengers 2.5 in a way. But so you already had Marvel doing it twice, and it was well received and made a whole lot of money. And now you have DC basically just not coming out with theirs, and people are just going to instantly look at that movie and compare it with the Avengers, which is kind of funny because you had one person that's kind of connected with both movies, which is Joss Whedon, and he did had some say in the new Justice League movie, and he also directed the first Avengers movie. So, which that kind of feel that maybe that might have would have helped this new Justice League movie. Maybe, I don't know. That's one thing about that I'm wondering too. I don't know if they're going to put that in a DVD or whatever, or some behind the scenes. I actually would like to know exactly what did Joss Whedon do. What did he put in to the movie that wasn't there? And I guess in how he changed the tone or changed some parts of the movie. I kind of, just off the top of my head, I feel like the lighthearted scenes, some of the funny moments were his doing, and not the original director, Zack Snyder, who was the original director, but he had a tragedy that happened with in his family that took him away from the project. But I hope they would put that like in some sort of behind the scenes deal, that they will kind of show this is what he contributed to this movie, just to kind of get a feel as far as what was in there and what was not, and just to kind of get a feel of how his vision went when he joined in the production. Now, also, when I think about just seeing all the kind of criticism of it, even though it did well, but obviously if you see any of the entertainment sites, there's a lot of criticism for different things. And honestly, I feel like a lot of these people already had their mind made up before the movie even came out, for a number of reasons. One, maybe because they just didn't like the other DC movies, maybe don't like Zack Snyder as a director, or don't or just trying to find something to nitpick before the movie even came out. Because because of the director change in the middle of it, and they had to do reshoots and all that, and people had to come back. Henry Cavill, who plays Superman, had to come back, and for some reason, because he was filming Mission Impossible 6, I think, whatever, and he had a mustache and he couldn't shave it off, so they had to take it off by CGI, so you won't see it in the movie. So all this that came out, this negative news that came out before this movie came out, I feel like just because of that, it kind of got some of these critics, I feel like it kind of got it set in their mind to already see this in a negative light. And this movie had to overperform to even get a decent review. It had to be over the top. It had to be better than Wonder Woman, which I think is the only positive reviewed movie overall from the DC extended universe. If, all those different films that want to connect together. I just feel like they were just looking for anything to nitpick on, because some of the things that were coming out even the week of before the movie came out, was like just talking about the past movies. Because all right, they didn't like Batman vs Superman, so they were like, okay, they already had a sour taste in their mouth because of that. Which I should think, because of the length of Batman vs Superman, is a reason. I feel like that's the reason why they shortened the movie Justice League, because it was like under 2 hours. Meanwhile, Batman vs Superman was over 2 hours. I think it was like maybe 2.5 hours. And actually, I think that was a detriment to me personally. I think because it felt a little rushed by watching it. That's the one criticism I have, is I feel like it could have been a little bit longer. Because it just felt like they were just like kind of let's get to the action. And there was plenty of action in it. I just felt like they could have taken out a couple of scenes that I saw that I felt like maybe a second or two that I felt like was unnecessary. And I felt like they could have added a little bit more. I said maybe an extra 10 to 15 minutes. And especially when you're introducing new characters who I guess haven't, not so much new characters, but characters that haven't had their modern day debut, as far as if you're talking about Aquaman and Cyborg. I mean, people who know those characters, but they haven't seen them on the big screen recently. And so they're introducing those characters that I think those two characters, especially Flash, not so much, because there's a CW show about the Flash, which kind of will give you a little bit of backstory if you care. But you have those other two, Aquaman and Cyborg, who just coming fresh, on the scene. I think they could have done a little more talking about their backstory just a little bit. Like I said, I'm only talking about 1 or 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes each. So that's extra 10 minutes. But regardless, I feel like they lack confidence in telling their story because of the backlash of what happened with the people complaining about Batman vs Superman being so long. Again, I like Batman vs Superman. I like the extended edition better, actually, which is even longer. But it also told the story better to me. But I mean, that's another criticism. Now, another criticism that came out, I think, the week of last week, was this outrage about the costumes of the Amazon women. So if you saw Wonder Woman, these Amazon women, the warriors on the island, and if you've seen Wonder Woman, you know what I'm talking about. But so they're dressed like warriors. And so in the Wonder Woman movie, I guess their costume didn't show their midriff. They didn't show their abs, I guess, to put it that way. And in the Justice League movie, they're showing the abs. So basically, the only difference is that they're showing the abs as opposed to not. And all of a sudden, you had people coming out tweeting, feminists and the social justice warriors and whatever, come out, basically saying like, look at the difference when a man directs, something about the Amazons or Wonder Woman compared to Patty Jenkins, who directed Wonder Woman, and try to make it seem like it was some sexist, chauvinistic deal or whatever. And I just thought that was just totally out of place, just made no sense in a way. For one example that just stands out, if anyone even gave like a second to think about, for one, who the director was, for one, the director is Zack Snyder, like I mentioned before. And if you don't know who Zack Snyder is, he's the director of the movie 300, which, if you remember seeing that movie, those guys were dressed even less than these women were. and they was out here fighting with spears. And so, because I remember one person tweeting like, "How can you?" I guess it was saying like, as far as how you fight, if you go into battle, shouldn't you be more dressed or more have more protection? I agree, but did you see 300? Those guys were basically out there in their underwear. That was it. And yet, I mean, I would not be surprised those same women that were all upset about these Amazon costumes, I bet they didn't have any problem with 300. Seeing all of them having basically with Chippendales on a battlefield was 300. That's what I bet they didn't have any problem with that. But with these Amazon costumes, they were like, oh, they want to just feign this outrage about those characters. And that was just another thing they just kind of added on to the negative stories leading up to the movie. Now, another thing was actually, I guess, well, it was in the reviews, but it's also kind of really touched on after the movie came out on Friday, is people just made the thought like, oh, they did such a horrible job on Henry Cavill's face because, like I mentioned before, he had a mustache and they had to digitally take it out some kind of way or whatever. I don't know how the computer graphics go, but they had to take it out because he couldn't shave his mustache. It's stupid, really, to use this as a criticism, but people did. And you had people saying like, well, it was so horrible. You could see that where he has the mustache and that it's all, the CGI was messed up or that it didn't cover up what they needed to and whatever, which I will say you're full of it. Honestly, if you saw that movie, if you didn't know about what I just mentioned, if you didn't know anything about the whole mustache deal, you wouldn't have thought twice about it. You wouldn't have watched it and said, something looks funny about his face. You wouldn't have thought that because when you see the movie, nothing looks different. It looks like his face. It's just a simple fact that you know that. And so you're looking at it. You're looking at his top lip the whole time. You ain't even looking at his face. When he's on screen the whole time, you just you're just looking right at his top lip the whole time, just looking for it. Like, oh, there it is right there. I mean, and you're basically making something that really isn't there. I'm pretty sure there may be a little something there, but I think it's more so people just knew about it and just wanted to use that as a criticism just to heap on more negative story on it because they already didn't like the movie or didn't want the movie to succeed or whatever. I don't know. I just want to have a reason just to rag on it or whatever. But I've noticed this has kind of become a little bit of a rant, but like I said, I like the movie. I think, if you're listening, like I said, if you're listening to this on, on Thanksgiving around the dinner table right now, if you listen to me, I highly recommend. I think you should go see Justice League right after dinner. I don't know if you're watching football or whatnot. I mean, it's funny. I don't know if you all watch football. It depends on, the politics of your family, I guess. If, you have some people who are not watching because of the whole kneeling and everything that's been going on this season and last. So I don't know. Maybe you're not watching the NFL this year. If not, like I said, I think y'all just go to the movies and watch Justice League. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. I think you will have fun watching it. There are some good, a lot of good things, good action in it. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Actually, I guess kind of break it down a little bit, not to go too far into this, but just all the individual characters. I'm looking forward. After watching this movie, I really want to see that Flash movie now because he really stood out. I really enjoyed his time on screen. He was the guy Ezra Miller who played the Flash, and I really enjoyed it. It was fun watching him as the Flash. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Even though it seems like it's farther down the line, I think it should be pushed up. They should hurry up and get that on to make that movie. Actually, I think the next one is going to be Aquaman, which is sometime next year. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that and to that Flash movie. I think it'll be fun, especially given the fact of what they are considering, what the storyline is going to be. But anyway, I'm not going to get too far into that. People probably have no idea what I'm going to be talking about. But I think the next one, Aquaman. I think a Batman movie. Then obviously Wonder Woman 2. That is the most obvious. They're definitely going forward with that. So I don't know the timeline as far as all these movies, but honestly, if I was doing it, I think the next one should be The Flash, then Aquaman, and then Wonder Woman 2. But also, I think they ought to have more collaborations in these movies as opposed to like standalone. So it's kind of like, I mean, I guess in a way it'd be kind of like copying Marvel, but I think it's a good thing. Like Batman and Superman. Like, look, I like Superman. I can watch. I like Superman Returns, that one that most people don't like. My favorite Superman movie is Superman 3. That's my favorite. But I can understand if they don't make it anymore, like right now, only because of, even though they made money with the two Superman movies, Batman vs Superman and Man of Steel, but just a critical review. The negative criticism of it, maybe keeping the studio from maybe thinking about doing another Superman movie, which, if not, that's okay. I feel like those characters, even Batman, whatever the deal with Ben Affleck, if he's going to return or whatever, I feel like those characters ought to be integrated into the other movies. So maybe have them Batman or Superman in a Wonder Woman movie as a kind of in a supporting role or something. Or, have them in like the Flash movie here and there. I guess a good example would be like if anyone saw the new Spider-Man. So you had Spider-Man, but Iron Man had a good portion in it. Or kind of like the Hulk in the Thor movie. I think they should do more of that. And it's probably not focus too much on trying to have all these standalone movies. I think if they did more kind of like a collaboration of sense in some of these movies, that might help out more so than trying to do so many solo movies. So anyway, I really went longer than I thought I was going to go on that. But like when I first started this podcast, I said I was going to talk about movies. I really haven't been doing it. And as you can tell, I can talk about this all day as much as I talk about politics too, or whatever. So anyway, and speaking of that, the next thing that I'm looking forward to is with Star Wars, because I love watching Star Wars. So I'm looking forward to watching that. I'll probably talk about that when it comes out. I know it's funny, I talked to a friend a couple of days ago, and they like, this friend likes Marvel more than DC. So it's kind of like what I've been talking about already, my friend has this, I guess she has her side on it, put it that way. And we also got talking about Star Wars. And, I'm thinking probably when it get close to Star Wars coming out, might do a podcast just talking about Star Wars. Just a forewarning. I'm telling you right now, if you listen to it, and if you don't like Star Wars, yeah, it's coming. Just letting you know, I don't know if it's going to be a full episode about Star Wars, but some talk about Star Wars is coming. So I don't know if that's making you excited or not. But I'm just telling you that it's coming, along with that interview with the producer of TrendChat. That. You know what? I'm thinking that might be on Christmas. Actually, that might be a Christmas episode. The interview with the producer. Looking forward to that one too. So anyway, again, just want to say Happy Thanksgiving. I don't have any gobble music and like, gobble gobble effect of turkeys or whatever. I mean, I do have an effect of what you would do to a turkey. I mean, something like that, or you might do that to the turkey. That's about all I got for as far as, how you blew like a gobble gobble, and then you shoot them and then you eat them. So anyway, like I said, I'm thankful for y'all listening whenever you're listening. And before I get into what I'm thankful for, let's hear from my friends from the Founding Project.
Hello, TrendChat fans. The Founding Project invites you to experience our latest resource to take civics to citizens, TFP's new website. Visit us at www.thefoundingproject.com. Be a part of the civics movement with the Founding Project. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Join us today.
So, obviously, given that it's Thanksgiving week, everyone who either has a website or anything, or basically either you're writing an article or doing a show, basically talking about what you're thankful for. Which, I'm not saying like it's something that you shouldn't do. I think it's a great thing. I'm just, like I said in the beginning, it's kind of, this is my turn to give my thankful list. And in a way, it's kind of like the obligatory, like, well, you should say what you're thankful for. Kind of feel like if I don't, feel like I'm anti-Thanksgiving or something, which I'm not. So I definitely want to say what I'm thankful for. And I just thought about it for a second. I said, well, what am I thankful for? And I know the first thing for me, I'm thankful for being able to live in a country where you can proclaim, as far as for me as a Christian, proclaiming that Jesus Christ is Lord, that he is the way, the truth, and the life, that you can go out and spread the gospel to whoever you want without the fear of persecution. Given that, that's your God-given right, and also backed up in the Constitution to have that protection as well. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that we're able to have brothers and sisters out here who are out there to tell people the good news of the gospel, who are able to give their money to missions overseas and to continue to, spread the good news of Jesus Christ. That's the one thing I'm thankful for. And I know a lot of times we tend to maybe want to seem like it's, as far as persecution goes over here, sometimes we kind of want to mention that we're being, there are stories, as far as saying that a feeling of persecution, but let's be honest, it's nothing to the level of what's going on in other places across the world where people are being, killed, murdered for their faith, having, the churches burned down, having people shot, hung, and all in other places of the world because of their, their profession of faith. So that's one thing I'm thankful for off the top. Now, I'm also thankful for, let's just say, the Constitution itself. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for having a system where if you want to bring change in this country, you have that opportunity in the Constitution. It's only just up to us, we the people, and this is something I've mentioned before, it's up to us to actually use it. And I'm a firm believer of, we get the government we deserve, because the power is within, as it says in the Constitution, we the people. And I'm thankful for having that system to, whether, if it's something you don't like, something that you think is egregious, and the people can actually, whether contact their representatives or elect people who they want to represent them, and we have the amendment process in the Constitution. So it's not like you're stuck with everything. Now, it's not something where it's done in an instant. I mean, you have to have a certain number, have a good number of people who agree with having whatever amendment you want to add. So that's why we haven't had an amendment, a new amendment in decades, because it's not something that should be taken lightly, for one. But that process exists, and that's what I'm thankful for, in one sense. And also, well, speaking of the Constitution, I mean, just the freedom of speech. I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole Bill of Rights. I'm not going to go through the whole Constitution, but I'm just thinking off the top of my head, just like the freedom of speech. I mean, that's something to be thankful for. I think we take it for granted. I think a lot of people, especially liberals, take it for granted in a way, because they're so out here to wanting to stifle other people's freedom of speech, whether, on the college campuses or whatnot. But I'm thankful for the freedom of speech, even if it's to, talk about, Thanksgiving, football, and the NFL, the freedom to kneel, freedom to protest or whatever. I'm thankful for that freedom. Now, even though I disagree, I think it's very misguided, based on a misperception on whatever they perceive as racial injustice or police brutality, whatever. I think that it's just going at it the wrong way, or, like I said, just a misguided view. That being said, have the freedom to do it, but also, every time you said it, you also, it's not the freedom from being criticized about it. People have the freedom to say what they say about your protest as much as you have the freedom to protest. Also, the freedom of speech, and just thinking about some more recent, talking about freedom. You have the freedom to be obnoxious, an obnoxious, I guess, dad, and ungrateful to the president because your son got caught shoplifting in China, and you just can't bear to say thank you to getting your son out, and just wanting to get in front of a camera every time just to basically promote your big whatever brand. You have that freedom. You have the freedom to, be as obnoxious as you want to be. Just go ahead. And if people want to put you on TV, all right, that's on them. I ain't got to watch it. If people want to watch, that's on them. Just like people want to get mad about the Kardashians and all them. Well, I mean, they're not up there for nothing. Somebody's watching. Somebody want to watch them. So they have a market, and people want to watch them. They have it. That's the free. That's the joy of freedom. I think some people maybe just thinking that it's, in some cases, like, oh, maybe we shouldn't. No, I don't feel that way. I'd rather have them out there than the other way around, where you have the government or some entity out there telling you what you can't say or can't see or whatnot. So, only because of recent events with the shootings, I'm thankful for the Second Amendment. Thankful that we have the right to bear arms, the right to self-defense. Thankful for that, and we need to continue to defend that right, because we see this every time some sort of tragic event that involves guns. People are out here actively really wanting to take that freedom away. So I think that's something that we really need to be vigilant as far as defending our right to self-defense, because they're not going to stop as far as their mission to want to take away, because they, in their mind, they view, I guess they view guns as far as that there's some, autonomous deal where they just get up and start shooting people by themselves. I don't know, but not to continue on, but I just in general just thankful for the Constitution and and the founding of this country, basically. Now, I'm very thankful that Hillary lost. Thankful for that. I'm really thankful that Hillary Clinton lost. And I mentioned, was this the last podcast where I mentioned as far as, or maybe 2 podcasts ago? Oh, well, it was when I was talking about a year since President Trump been elected. And I was just saying, just imagine what we would be, what the stories we'll be talking about right now if Hillary Clinton was president right now. It's not like we are in utopia, which one, I don't believe in it for one, but it just, can you imagine what we'll be dealing with a Clinton administration and all that? I can't even imagine that, really. What are you talking about? Like Supreme Court justice, who she would have appointed, and what her appointees in the different cabinets and what they've been doing right now, and probably who knows? It's just something you can't even imagine. And so, like I said, I'm thankful that Hillary lost. I'm also thankful for the decisions that have been made this past year. Not saying I agree with all of them. First thing that I think of, I definitely don't agree with the civil asset forfeiture that the administration is, I guess, considering, and I guess it's still wanting to keep up that policy. I don't agree with that, and I mean, like I said, there's other things I can't say I'm for everything that's going on, but I definitely like more decisions than I don't like. Kind of going back to what I was saying about the Supreme Court, you got Neil Gorsuch being appointed. That that was a good thing. It just kind of recently with this whole tax reform, I guess bill that's in the Senate, and maybe get voted on next week. Hopefully that goes through. I think it's a good bill. It's not perfect, but it's better than what we have. And I'm just thinking about, I mean, like I said, it's not, this is not, things could be a whole lot better, could be better, basically. But in considering the alternative, I mean, even thinking about protecting religious liberty, kind of like what I mentioned, the very first thing that I'm thankful for. And as far as President Trump signing an executive order to do away with the Johnson Amendment, that basically the Johnson Amendment was basically keeping churches from for promoting political candidates, basically. And just something like that. And I'm just like I said, these decisions would not even been considered if we was in a Clinton administration. These things would have been worse, like considering who our pick would have been. And now, one thing that's definitely I'm disappointed in not repealing Obamacare. That that fell through. That fell to the wayside. Hopefully it will be picked up next year, and this will finally be done. But then I also think about it the other way around. Clinton administration would have strengthened Obamacare by now, or at least tried to through executive order, given that she wouldn't have the votes in Congress. But still, can you imagine how many executive orders she would have signed by now? that just would have been just anyway. So those are the things I'm thankful for. I mean, I'm thankful for this platform. I'm thankful for Spreaker for being able to do this podcast. I'm thankful for being able to be heard on Google Play, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Thankful for that. And obviously, as I mentioned all the time, I'm thankful for everyone that is listening right now, that has been listening. And I'm thankful for just that people care to want to hear this podcast. I was talking to a friend this earlier this week, and she mentioned that that she listened to the podcast, and she just said that I'm doing a good job. That that's encouraging. I appreciated that. People, if you're listening, thanks for listening. And if you are, let me know. Because I don't assume that you're just waiting with bated breath for the next podcast to come out, next episode. I can't wait to hear what Brian's got to say today. I'm not assuming that. For me, I'm just getting behind this microphone and just kind of just putting it out there. And if people want to listen, that's great. And if you want to listen, I would encourage you to tell other people to listen then. And just continue to grow this to wherever it leads to, really. And so that's all I can think of right now as far as what I'm thankful for. Obviously, there's a lot to be thankful for. Thankful for family, friends and family. Just thankful for having them in my life. And I'm pretty sure you feel the same way. And yeah, I mean, we could go down and we could do a podcast for hours talking about things we're thankful for. But those are the things that I'm just thankful of right now. And also I only have a couple of minutes left. So once again, I appreciate everyone listening. I really do. And happy Thanksgiving. And whenever you listen to this, but this is released on Thanksgiving. And I just want to say like I said, thankful for family. And if you're with your family right now, just, I guess, enjoy their company. I'm not going to be one of the people that tell you don't talk about politics on Thanksgiving. I'm not going to be one of the people. I feel like you should be able to talk about politics, but unfortunately that people make it seem like if you do, then that's going to cause a lot of strife, which it shouldn't. You should, regardless of where you stand, your family members, if they agree or disagree, you should be able to have a discussion without going at each other's throats. So I'm not going to be one of those people that say, don't discuss politics during a dinner table. I think you should have a healthy discussion. That's what I think. That's what I should say that you should have. If you're going to talk about it, have a healthy discussion. If you disagree, that's fine. Just disagree and move on. But I think, these things are important. Whether you're talking about politics or even more so, theology. If you're telling someone that they should, believe in Jesus Christ. If you're telling someone the gospel, that is important. And I don't think you should be, restricted because it's been being viewed as far as that you should be quiet about things that are important in this world. And the gospel is the most important. And then if you're talking about politics as far as what affects you in your community. Anyway, just want to say that. I mean, I think you should just say what you believe and stand up for it. So anyway, appreciate it, everyone listening again. And until next week, we'll chat with you later.